Okay, so I'm at a park right now with my dog Poe. We're on a walk. You can see her. I'm at the park with my dog. It's pretty early. It's like a little, about 7 a.m. And I wasn't planning on being awake this early. But since I'm awake this early, I'm like, let's go for a walk with my dog. And basically, my voice sounds a little funny. And it sounds a little funny because I have a little cold right now, like mucus in the throat type of deal. But for this video, I wanted to talk about basically society versus animal kingdom and the differences between society and animal kingdom and how that looks played out. And what I've noticed is that with animal kingdom, it's just straight up survival of the fittest. And in the most brutalist term, survival of the strongest, and that's sort of it. And it's completely unfair. Whereas when you think about society, society is completely different. It's very prim, it's very proper, but more than that, it's fair. Or it tries to bring in a sense of egalitarian nature where there's laws and law and order, regulation, and it tries to make everything fair, whether it's business or whether it's crime and punishment, that sort of thing. And what I've noticed is that the law and order is what sort of makes people good. If people aren't naturally good people, law and order is what makes people good. The threat of punishment for whatever they do is. Whereas in society, if a society existed without law and order, without crime and punishment, you would get something much closer to just the animal kingdom, where everything goes. Whereas the beauty of crime and punishment and law and order is that it makes you feel safe, and it makes you feel secure, and stuff like that. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this was I go back and forth on what I want for my career and what I want for my life. And I used to want to be a lawyer. And when I think of, and in thinking about this, I'm like, do I still want to be a lawyer? Law and order is so important in terms of, there's this case, Jeffrey Epstein, who committed suicide in jail because he was going to be tried for so many counts of like rape and like prostitution and things like that. And to avoid being punished for his crimes, he basically committed suicide instead. And I thought about it and I'm like, well, if he was tried earlier on in his life, the crimes would have ended much sooner. And when I think about this, I'm like, how do you find the appropriate punishment or the appropriate crime for every wrong deed? And sometimes people aren't punished, sometimes people are punished. But how do you find the most appropriate punishment for every crime? And that's the whole point of law and order. That's the whole point of crime and punishment. To find the right sort of suitable punishment that fits the right sort of crime. And, the whole point of this is that you have society where you could feel safe and secure, and so you don't have to basically feel like you're living in the wild, wild west where you need guns and knives to protect yourself. So you don't feel like you have to basically, in the olden days, women would basically be property of men because it was a very strength-based society where, there would be men who would like fight with each other for food and resources and women would basically just be the sort of trophy that men would have. And so a lot of the times during war, the women would be raped and the men would be killed. And then they would be adopted into the other society and that's sort of it. And that's how brutal things were back then. And nowadays, you have society and you have law and order in society, but how often do crimes go unpunished? And my thought is, there are situations where there's like vigilante justice where people sort of find a way to punish these crimes. But then how do you find the right sort of punishment if the current legal system isn't doing their job? And I heard of this article on the internet, and basically this kid was raped, and it was like a teenager who was raped. And so what happened was this kid's dad, basically beat up the rapist, like physically beat up the rapist. And so like their face was like bruised and swollen and like bloody, and I'm like, okay, that's vigilante justice, there you go. And that's kind of what I want. I want situations where the justice system isn't doing their job for basically vigilante justice to kick in. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. That's completely exactly what I want. And then I'd feel good about things. Because right now, I don't think that happens enough. And I don't think it happens enough because there are so many people doing so many crimes. Like, I was scammed back at the end of July. I was scammed of like a few $100s. And it's not a lot of money when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. But considering I don't have a job right now, it's a lot of money to me. It's a huge amount of money to me. And that pissed me off. And I filed like a report about it. And like they took notes and that was it, but nothing really happened. And like I want some sort of karmic justice for that. And like I don't even know if I believe in karma right now or anymore, because I'm such a good person and nothing's come from it. And I've helped so many people and nothing's come from it. And I don't even understand that. Like, is my good karma just that I'm alive? Is that it? I didn't die a young death? Is that it? And sometimes I'm bitter about that. And sometimes I'm bitter about that because I don't understand the point of life. If life isn't fair. And I want to believe life is fair. And because I want to believe life is fair, I want to know that everyone's going to get their sort of karmic justice, or their sort of crime and punishment, or their sort of law and order. And that's sort of why I'm frustrated sometimes, because everyone wants to believe that life's fair. Everyone wants to believe that if they're a good person, good things will happen to them. If they're a bad person, if there are bad people in the world, they'll get punished, things like that. And so I'm sort of frustrated sometimes because I don't know if that's really the case and always the case. But I'm hoping in situations where law and order doesn't step in, that there will be vigilante justice and people will be appropriately punished. And let's see, what else? So this walk is pretty nice. It's a little sunny. I didn't wear sunscreen, but I'm hoping it'll be okay because we won't be in the direct sun for too long because it's pretty, the sun's still coming up. It's making its way out. But yeah, and that's the thing. I appreciate law and order because it protects you, and that's the whole point. It protects you. I don't need to carry a gun. I don't need to carry knives. The whole point of law and order is that you're safe regardless. And, well, in situations where law and order isn't appropriately handling a situation, I really, really, really hope that vigilante justice does. And I really, really, really hope that I regain faith in our modern justice system to appropriately handle things. And I get that, you know, things take time, but I'm kind of impatient. I'm like super impatient. But that's basically it for this video. See ya.